Boa noite. Good evening to everyone. It's sad to say that. After all the preparations and time that all of you spent to get here, it goes so quickly. But I would like to spend a bit of time together this evening as we celebrate and reflect on the time that we spent together over the past 3 days. To begin that, I would like to ask Mike Donnelly and Brittany Paste to come up to the front here and join me. The reason that I'd like to ask them to come forward is that these two people and the organization that they're with are really the backbone and the reason that this conference is on and exists. Mike and Brittany, come on up and join me. Mike and Brittany are with HSLDA in the United States, and their work is far more than just work. It's a mission of global importance. And Mike and Brittany, I just want to thank you for your work in preparing for this conference, in planning for this conference, in delivering this conference, and for serving all of us in the way that you do, not only with professionalism, but with such a smile and an attitude that's an encouragement to all of us. So please join me in thanking Mike and Brittany and HSLDA for their support that just, we can't say enough about it.
Do you want to say anything, Britt? No? Okay. Thank you. You're very kind. You're very kind, thank you. I just have a few words I'd like to say here. You can sit down. Yeah. So when am I doing this after we're done with this? Okay, all right. Okay, I have a presentation, if you could bring that up, the video and the slide. So it is a mission. I'm delighted to have been called because I was called. I believe that everybody here has a purpose. I'm a Christian, and so I believe that we're here for a reason. And I wasn't looking to do this, I can tell you that. I was a corporate lawyer. I was making a lot of money. But God had other plans for me. And He called me and my family to this work 10 years ago. And He prepared me in ways that I never could have imagined to do this work. As I look back, I see exactly how He was preparing me now. At the time, I had no idea that He was preparing me to do this work. But it is a delight, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege, it's an honor, and a blessing to be able to work with all of you, the board, and the many international leaders that I work with. And, of course, I couldn't do it if it weren't for my wife, my supportive wife, and I just want to say thank you to her. She's not here. She's in Florida. Yeah, so don't feel too bad for her. Okay, can we bring up, and so why do we do this? Why am I so motivated to do this? Well, I want to share with you the story of a family. And I think that'll help you understand why I'm so motivated to do this. Could you bring up that presentation, please, and play the video? Thank you.
If the Court of Immigration Appeals turned down our asylum completely, it would mean they would send us back to Germany, where we would face the same persecution as when we left. That means we would be increasingly high fined, and we would have to face jail time if we don't pay the fines, and we might lose whatever, like house and every thing that belongs to us, we would have to lose. We would be under the threat of losing custody of our children. That means they would try to ruin our family.
the custody of your children?
For the German government, it's important to have the first right on education of children because they want to impose their worldview rather than having parents to form their children according to their worldview, which might be different.
When we first started homeschooling, my father was against it, and I'm from a big family with 12 children, and I went to public school, of course, and he was against us. He thought we should just leave it in the hands of the school, and but after a few years and after a while he helped us, and before he died, he even told my sister, when I would have known earlier, we would have done it too with our children.
We are now living here in America in a very crucial time because we are seeing more and more freedoms taken away from the people by the government, because the government takes more and more control of our lives. And now if the government is saying that home education is no fundamental human right, no fundamental right that parents have, then I think that should be very alarming, because that's what we see in Germany, that the government decides what children have to learn, and if the government now decides on what children learn, and a whole generation is formed by this point of view, then that means also the next generation wouldn't believe in freedom anymore. Here in America, people are raised with that thought that we are a free country here and parents have fundamental rights. And now seeing the government taking all this away should be alarming, and the public should be standing up against this.
So this video is a couple years old, but I wanted to share it because of the story that it tells. It tells the story of a family who just wanted to homeschool their children. They were forced to leave their homeland. And they are not alone. There are many families like them in Germany, in Sweden, and other countries where home education is not respected as a right. And that's why we came here. That's why Brittany and I do what we do. We do it because home education is a right. It is a right that we all have because of who we are as human beings, because of our inherent dignity. And parents are not born to the state. Children are not born to the state. They're born to parents, to families, and families know what's best for their children. And so we gather here a second time for the second Global Home Education Conference. And what I'm hoping that you will take away from this, not only this message, we've had a great time here, but something else. I have another slide, guys. And what I see here, there we go. This is what I see here. This is what I see here. I see a network forming. It's been forming for some time. It's always been there. But a network is only as powerful as the number of connections in the network. And what we are doing is making connections. Connecting people who share this idea, this transcendent idea that children are born to families, and that parents know what's best for their children, and that they should have the right to choose how they're educated, no matter why they want to do that or how they do it. And so I want you to take this energy back to, it's okay, to your family. We're homeschool, we're homeschoolers, right? It always bothers me in churches when the pastors try to shush the kids. You shouldn't go to a church where pastors shush the children, okay? Anyway, I never do that. Children can come sit up here or whatever, Anyway, so I want you to take this energy back, take it back to your countries, and replicate what we're doing here. Have your own conferences. We'll have another. I'll just spill the beans there. Well, we take the energy back to your countries. Okay, thank you.
Mike, thank you. Mike, we want to thank you, and I would ask you to specifically thank Mike Smith and Mike Ferris, who are back in your in order to work for HSLDA, you have to be like a Mike. Literally, yes. But if you could please, on behalf of those of us from around the world, thank you for your leadership, for your vision, and for your help and servanthood. So thank you. Some others that I'd like to thank this evening before we go on, I'd like to thank those that are sitting in the booth at the back there, our translators, and those that are beside them in technical support. Your professionalism and your support throughout this conference has made it possible for us to have those networks, to be able to communicate together and to be able to do these things, and I thank you for that. I want to thank our speakers here at the conference. And please, if all of those of you that have spoken here at the conference can stand up, we have a little something for you. If you've been a presenter or a speaker here at the conference, please stand up. We really appreciate the investment because most of these people have reached into their own pockets and funded their own trips here in order to share with you the things that they've shared. So thank you to our presenters and our speakers for the investment that you've made in the global home education movement. We really appreciate it, and we salute you, and we thank you. I'm going to ask Rich and Barb Hecky to keep standing. They had a draw at their booth, and Rich and Barb, why don't you come on up here? We just love to give things away as homeschoolers. They had a draw, and the winner of the draw is Leandro Ribeiro from Rio de Janeiro. I want to salute Rich and Barb. Come on up here just for a second. I want to salute these folks. We find that a lot of times people, they make it through their homeschool journey, and at the end they go, whew, and they leave. These folks are not leaving. They're continuing to minister. And I just want to thank them for your ministry and for what you're doing and the example that you're setting. So thank you for that. Rich, anything you want to say? No. Okay.
Just maybe a minute. It's kind of funny because I didn't think we'd be saying anything. And I said, hey, Barb, if they ask us to say something, are you prepared to say something? And she kind of nodded, so I have nothing prepared. I just want to thank you guys for coming, especially the ones that had to travel outside this continent, but really everybody, because there's so many folks here that had to go quite a distance to get here. And it was a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of time, and it's a sacrifice of money. But there's just so much to benefit from homeschooling. We started like so many people, we said, oh, we'll try it for a year. We'll see how that goes. And once we were in about maybe not even a month in it, we were sold on the whole concept of homeschooling. And we would never take back that experience for anything. We have been so blessed by it, and I think our children have felt the same way. So just thank you for everybody coming. God bless. Have a good trip home, and just thank you for making us feel so welcome here in Brazil.
I want to real quick say that you guys are an inspiration to us. We have been so blessed to meet you. You guys are heroes, and you're all leaders, and we're just so thankful to be among you.
Thank you, Rich and Barb. I'd like the guy to come up here. The guy from Brazil, Alexandre. It's a privilege to be here with you, and I want to thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to speak in Portuguese, as usual. Bem, é difícil dizer o quanto é emocionante presenciar, ver e sentir tudo que aconteceu aqui durante esses dias, de tantas coisas novas que surgiram nas cabeças e nos corações das pessoas, tanta energia renovada aqui e tantas pessoas interessantes para se conhecer. É engraçado, mas, para mim, desde que eu comecei a atuar em prol da educação domiciliar, uma das melhores coisas que me apareceu foi conhecer tanta gente bacana, que eu nunca conheceria de outra maneira. Pessoas de vários lugares do mundo, do Brasil, que tenho o privilégio hoje de chamar de amigos. E eu fiquei muito emocionado com o reconhecimento que as pessoas tiveram com o nosso trabalho aqui na conferência, o agradecimento que tiveram com tudo que foi feito. E às vezes algumas pessoas chegavam para nós e diziam assim: nossa, obrigado pelo sacrifício de vocês foram tão... alguém chamou assim, vocês foram tão heróicos de fazer isso, essa luta toda. Eu queria dizer para vocês que eu nunca consegui ver isso como um sacrifício, porque um sacrifício é a situação em que você larga alguma coisa de maior valor para adotar uma de menor valor. Eu posso dizer que eu nunca sacrifiquei nada para estar nessa luta, pelo contrário, todo o tempo e às vezes dinheiro do próprio bolso que eu usei para isso foi em busca de algo de maior valor. Na verdade, eu tenho que ser justo. Eu sacrifiquei muitas vezes tempo de convivência com a minha família e eu dou graças a Deus de ter uma esposa tão compreensiva, que dá um suporte tão grande. Pena que ela não pôde estar aqui nesse momento. E para mim é uma alegria ter vindo aqui com ela, com as nossas filhas, a Sara e a Sofia, para presenciar tudo isso. E, com certeza, sem ela, tudo ficaria muito mais difícil. E também não é preciso coragem para fazer uma coisa dessas. Eu acho muito importante deixar isso firme para a nossa situação aqui no Brasil agora, porque quando você tenta focar demais na coragem, o que aparece não é a coragem, é o medo. Na verdade, você apenas precisa focar na verdade. Na verdade que você já sabe do seu coração, a verdade do que você quer para os seus filhos, do que você quer para a sua vida, do que você quer para a família. Siga a verdade que está na nossa consciência, que toda pessoa tem um bom senso para descobrir. Talvez basta sentar um pouco, fechar os olhos e sair da confusão do dia a dia. Nós conseguimos perceber essas verdades. Siga isso e esqueça a coragem. Simplesmente faça. Eu posso dizer que eu segui a verdade que eu vi dentro de mim e simplesmente muitas coisas aconteceram, graças a Deus, e aqui estamos nós. Então, sigam os corações de vocês, muito mais do que as mentes de vocês. A gente sabe, no fundo a gente já sabe o que deve ser feito. Nós não temos tantas dúvidas assim. a respeito do que é o melhor para nós, para a nossa família, para os nossos filhos. Mas, às vezes, a gente fica prestando atenção demais para o barulho do mundo. E o que eu percebo é que, quando nós adotamos a educação domiciliar, esse barulho aumenta muito, porque as pessoas ficam falando. Uma das partes mais chatas é você ter que ficar se explicando a todo momento para amigos, parentes, vizinhos, etc. Bem, se isso é inevitável, consiga parar um pouco e ouvir seu coração e saber que, apesar da gente ainda estar longe aqui nesse país da situação ideal, nós somos verdadeiros conosco mesmos. E nós temos uma visão e nós somos persistentes porque nós olhamos para o nosso coração, reconhecemos uma verdade aí e nós amamos nossos filhos, nós queremos o melhor para eles. Independente do que vocês façam depois de saírem daqui, a minha tristeza é que eu sei que muitos de vocês eu nunca mais verei, independente do que vocês façam, lembrem-se sempre do seguinte, a educação dos nossos filhos é nossa responsabilidade. Isso é o essencial. O resto vai ser consequência. A educação domiciliar é consequência dessa percepção, de que nós somos os responsáveis pela educação deles. Nós somos responsáveis por criá-los. E nós os amamos, pelo menos pais e mães que mereçam esse nome, e sabemos o que é o melhor para eles. E, no final das contas, quando, se der tudo certo, estivermos bem velhinhos daqui a umas boas décadas e fizermos um balanço da nossa vida, o modo como nós cuidamos da nossa família, dos nossos filhos, é o que vai fazer diferença se a gente viver uma boa vida ou não. E a gente vai perceber que qualquer coisa, qualquer dificuldade que tenha passado por conta disso, torna-se irrelevante, torna-se boba, tola. Então, minha mensagem final é: continuemos em frente. Temos uma longa caminhada, mas mais do que caminharmos, nós temos que saber olhar para dentro de nós mesmos, reconhecer o amor que há em nós, o amor que há em nossa família, porque, afinal de contas, apesar de termos falado de tantas coisas mais técnicas, educação domiciliar é sobre o amor que temos com nossos filhos, e o amor que está contido em cada aprendizado que queremos passar para eles. E os pesquisadores já descobriram isso há um bom tempo, que com amor aprende-se melhor, aprende-se mais. Então, muito obrigado a todos. Eu continuo à disposição, a nossa caminhada continua. A nossa caminhada como seres humanos nunca vai terminar assim, até terminar a nossa vida nesse mundo. Então, contem comigo e vamos em frente. Vamos manter essa energia, vamos manter esse coração, essa alma e vamos fazer o que é melhor para nós, para nossas famílias e vai que, de quebra, a gente ainda consegue fazer um país melhor nisso aí. Muito obrigado.
Alexandre, I would like to, on behalf of those of us from around the world, thank you. And I'd like to thank all of those that are here from Brazil. If you're from Brazil, please stand up. I'd like to thank all of you for your hospitality, for your love, for your welcome. Thank you. What we'd like to do now is we'd like to celebrate a little bit. We've had some great help in taking some pictures of you in the last 3 days, and we'd like to celebrate and just sit back and enjoy the past 3 days and some of the things that we've been able to be part of.
Com Spotify Premium. Premium agora e ganhe 60 dias grátis.
Thank you, Noel, for putting that together for us and for your photography here in the last couple of days. We really appreciate it. As we reflect on the conference that we've spent time here, I've got a slideshow if you want to pull it up, please. Reflect on our time here over the last couple of days. I'm not going to try and sum up. You know, when I go back home, people are going to say, so what happened in Rio de Janeiro? And I don't know about you, but I'm not quite as good as Sergio, who wrote 50 pages after the last conference. but a lot happened here. We certainly heard from researchers that are renowned in the excellence of the work that they're doing all around the world in education research. And I want to ask the researchers that are here in the room to please stand up. And I'd just like to recognize them and thank them. It's so good to have you here with us. Your research was insightful and challenging and so informative, and I just want to thank you for being part of this historic event. We heard legal strategies, the battles, the plans that are being laid to deal with the various things that are happening around the world. We heard about the stories and the experiences that homeschool families and leaders and organizations were faced with in various countries. We heard about the challenges and the successes. And it's been an exciting time to be able to share that together. But we're going to go home. We're going to go home to our families, and we're going to try and say, how can we go forward from here? This is our family. Our children are grown, but our grandchildren are coming along, and we're going to say, so what could we do? And I'd like to share a little bit about what's going through my mind of what I should be thinking about. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about my background. I'm in agriculture. And one of the things that we don't do very much anymore, but we do some of it, is working in fields with the soil. And one of the things that farmers take great pride in is driving straight lines. This fellow didn't drive such a straight line. How do you drive a straight line? What you do is you keep your eye not on just in front of you. You keep your eye on the horizon or the goal. What's the long term of where you're headed? How can you do that? That's not so easy. It's so easy to focus on looking back and trying to keep it straight, but looking back and trying to keep it straight doesn't work. You'll go wiggly. You'll go off course. You need to have your eyes on the horizon. One of our challenges is that a lot of times we're far from shore. We're not in a place where we could have a point of reference. We can't see where we want to go because we've actually never gone there before. And in many cases, nobody else ever has. So what do? I want to share something a little bit unique from our Canadian Arctic experience. Something that's a little bit of a phenomenon that I hope illustrates what we want to talk about. We have these things that are now disappearing, but they're grain elevators in Western Canada. The farmers would bring the grain and store them in these places, and then eventually it would be sold and that sort of thing. But they're in every town in Western Canada. So what's this got to do with anything about this conference? Good question. In Western Canada, we have winter. It's something that happens, and what happens during the winter is something that's very phenomenal. What happens during the winter is that we get a phenomenon where we can see things that are beyond the horizon. What happens is the ice crystals in the air on very cold days bends the light, and we can see a grain elevator that's many miles away. On a normal day, we would never see it. Some would say it's a mirage. Mirages are in deserts. We don't have mirages in the cold. What happens on those days is we say it's a wonderful day to move grain elevators. Because what happens is that as the day warms up, you see this grain elevator in the distance, but as the day warms up, the bottom of the elevator disappears. And then, of course, all you have to do is drive a truck underneath it, and you can move it very easily. It's one of those phenomena. Now, what has this got to do with home education and why we're here? Well, I believe that being able to see over that horizon is what the challenge is that we have. To be able to see things that are beyond what we can see in our experience so far and the people we may know. What we need to do is find those good days to move grain elevators in all of the places, in all of the parts of the world. How can we do that? I think that there's a number of ways that we can do this. First of all, we can be an adventurer. We can take that trip into places that we've never gone. These are voyageurs. They settled the western part of Canada. They went to places that no one had gone before, at least from the Western world. And they explored, and they traded, and they did things. We need to be explorers and adventurers. We need to take a step out. That's not easy to do, but we need to do that. We'll need to run some rapids. We'll need to go places that they're kind of scary, but we need to do that. We need to stand up and to be able to do it. Now, how can we claim the right? I believe that we can claim this right that's beyond the horizon where nobody has gone before by, first of all, telling other people about the thing that is over that horizon. By being able to share that there's something there. I haven't seen it yet, but I believe it looks like this. I believe that it's something that we can get to. And when these explorers went to places that they had never been before, they might have heard something about it from somebody else. Somebody said, well, I heard from a friend of a friend that there's this place where there's freedom, this place where you can practice it freely to raise your children and train them as you want and you believe you should. You could claim that right. You can be a voyageur. You can move elevators that on other days they're impossible because you can share it together. Why do I do it? I used to say that I shared the things that I was doing for my children. My children are long grown and were never threatened. I do this in order for these are my grandchildren. I do this for my grandchildren's children's children, so that their legacy and your children and your children's children all around the world can enjoy the freedoms to be able to choose and to be able to exercise the right to home education, to be able to exercise the right of choice, to say, I can choose. That's why I do what I'm doing, and I would encourage you to be a voyageur, to be an elevator mover, to be able to stand up and say, we can do this. I'm going to ask the board of the Global Home Education Conference to come up and join me here on the stage, because we would like to challenge you. We'd like to challenge you, but we'd like to stand with you, because we believe that it's through our partnership and through our cooperation and through the network that, Mike, you talked about, the network building around the world, that we can together be those pioneers, those voyageurs, and be able to claim those prizes. I don't have enough of these, but what we want to do here is pass that down and we'll point to them. What we want to do as a board is we want, together with you, to declare these principles that it is a right to choose home education, that it is a right of you as parents to be able to raise your children in the way that you believe is the best for them. Because that's why we do all of this. It's simply to do the best. Not just equal, but the best for our children. So board, we declare, let's do it together. We declare that home education is a right. And I would ask you to grab that right and to do something with it in your homes, in your communities, in your countries, because it's all of you. We're here to serve you, but it's all of you that can work on that together, and we want to declare that right as we go forward. I just want to thank all of you for what you've done by taking a step forward, by being here, and together we want to stand with you. What can we do in home education? The first thing we can do is do what we're doing up here. I would ask all of you to stand up. I want you to stand up for the right to homeschool. We need to be able to stand up, and once we've stood up, then we need to seize that right and go forward. It's not just a matter, just like those voyageurs in that canoe, if they just sit there, they won't go anywhere. They have to grab onto that paddle, and they have to pull for it and head across that horizon to the places where they may not know, but that's where we're going. Thank you for being here in Rio. I want to, on behalf of our board, invite you to the next Global Home Education Conference. Yes, there is going to be another one. The next Global Home Education Conference will not be in 4 years. It will be in 2 years. In 2018, we're working on the location, and it will be announced shortly, but 2018 was when we will come back together again. I want to thank this board because we actually got a lot of work to do in the next 2 years. We're looking forward to it. As we go from here, just a couple of little details. You'll be getting an email that says, can you help us in preparing for that conference in 2018. It'll be coming from Brittany, and it'll be an evaluation to say what can we do differently? What can we do better? What would you like to see? What suggestions do you have? Please complete that and send it back. And you'll also be getting an email as an invitation to a closed, special Facebook group. And that'll be coming by email to all the delegates, and if you would like to respond to that invitation, you're more than invited, will be invited to do that. So look out for those 2 emails and more that'll be coming. If you're looking for other information, as things come out of the conference, keep on our Facebook page and the ghec.org website, because there'll be information that you'll be seeing on there about what's coming up, what's happening. So thank you for coming. We've got a reception we're not done. We've got a reception that starts momentarily. So we got this isn't like second supper, it's just first supper. So enjoy the evening. Thank you for coming, and safe travels as you proceed from here. And for all of us, it's a right. We declare it.
Sherman. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good job, Carl. Good job. Good job.
Thanks, Stuart.
Hey, Alberta. Well done. Gerald, can I grab, get a photo of you in front of this banner?
Sure. I'll get my wife to take one too. Yeah.
Mariano.